Hello guys, today we will be tying a simple bucktail streamer to imitate things like smelt or any silver-sided fish. Start off with a size 8 hook in my vise and my thread. Make sure you get it well secured and then begin securing flash glue to the back. 2 or 3 long strips to the back, tie it in good, fold it over, and then tie it over itself. This gives you a nice thick clump, which you will begin wrapping back to the 2/3 point, or a little less than that. Make sure you do nice tight wraps, or else it will slide and get caught easier in toothy fish's mouths and tear. And you don't want that happening. So make sure you got good tight wraps, and then tie it off. Don't snip the excess. When you tie it off, fold it back over and tie it in, and that adds some flash to the wing that we will be starting. Next, clip it off at about a hook shank length from the bend and tie in some electric blue bucktail. You can use electric blue or a darker blue or purple. This is going to be on the interior of the fly and barely shows, but it's great for accenting and it just creates a more bulkier profile. Technically you could do this with white, but your fly would be less visible in the water and would present more of a thin profile. The darker contrasting colors just give a better shape and color to your fly. Tie the butts in nice and tight so you don't lose the bucktail, and then we add the hackle. I tie in 2 grizzly hackle feathers on either side of the wings, and I use grizzly because I like the barred contrast of the white and black, and this will be not inside but like slightly covered by another bucktail wing. So it won't be super visible, and it's just subtle enough that it creates like the fine barring on smelt and other forage fish. Make sure you tie them in on both sides. I've noticed that these hackles can be somewhat frustrating to tie in. They like to twist and stuff. So take your time, make sure you get good tight wraps so they don't come loose, but also make sure they're well positioned before giving your final tie-ins and snipping the butts off. Next, clean up the head a bit and get some white bucktail. Now, you don't want this super long, it just has to go a little bit past the bend of the hook. And we'll be tying this in as the throat of the fly. The white underbelly is common to most forage fish, and so white is a very good choice. Cream also works if you're fishing in very clear water and you want something a little bit less showy and just too bright. I'm forgetting the words. Anyways, snip off the butts, tie them in nice and tight because you don't want to lose them when you catch a big fish, and tie in your last wing of gray bucktail. Make sure this is slightly longer than all the rest of the materials you've tied in, and this will give the tapered look towards the tail as you strip the fly. 2 loose wraps, and then pull tight on the rest of your wraps, and now splay them out a little bit, and then use your thumb to kind of just push it around, and it'll slightly cover the hackle, kind of making the hackle not quite disappear in it, but just enough so that the hackle isn't too overpowering and showy in the fly, and it just gives that subtle barred look to the fly. Next, tie in a bit of peacock herl, or as a replacement you could tie in ostrich herl or dark bucktail. I prefer peacock herl just because it's a more common material and it's got a really good sheen to it, which is pretty nice in the water as it gives a little bit of sparkle to the fly. The dark contrasting back matches. A lot of forage fish have a very dark back, dark purple or blue, and that just makes it harder for predators from above, like birds, to see them, but it also affects the way that they are viewed from the side, so I make sure and add that into my fly patterns. Now clean up the head, make sure all the fibers are nice and tight, and then you can whip finish. I just whip finish this. Some people will whip finish and add head cement, and if you have head cement, do it. I'm currently out of head cement, and I don't have any coming in soon, so that's just gonna be there. Another thing you can do is, if you're adding head cement, you can add eyes, but it's not 100% necessary. I don't add eyes because my flies often get beat up too fast.